How much control do we really have over tomorrow? And does the question itself make you anxious? You're listening to Torah in 7, a podcast on the weekly Torah reading where we explore the story behind the story in 7 minutes. I'm your host, Bela Olidort. First, a quick summary. Parshat Beshalach takes place immediately after the exodus from Egypt. Paro regrets letting the Israelites go and pursues them with his army. Trapped between the Egyptians and the Sea of Reeds, the people panic, and God splits the seas so that they can cross safely. When the Egyptians follow, the waters return and drown them. On the far shore, Moshe and the Israelites sing Shirat Hayam, the song at the sea. The people then journey into the wilderness, where the challenges begin almost at once. At Marah, the water is bitter. Soon after, the people are hungry, and God provides manna from heaven. Later, water is drawn from a rock, and the Israelites battle Amalek. The parsha ends with Amalek's defeat. I want to take a closer look at the most enigmatic part of the parsha, the manna. The manna, or man, says the Torah, was given to the Israelites to test their trust in God. We use the expression like manna from heaven as a metaphor for a lucky break, a gift we didn't earn. So why would something as miraculous as the manna be presented by the Torah as a test, a challenge? Why does the Torah say that God is giving the people manna to test them? If it's a gift, what's the challenge? To understand that, we need to understand how the manna worked. The Torah tells us that when the Jews complained of hunger, God told them, "I will rain down bread for you from the sky, and the people shall go out and gather each day that day's portion." And the rules were explicit. You collect only the amount you need for that day. There's no saving for tomorrow. There's no setting some aside just in case. You may only take what you need for today. And that's exactly how it worked. Now think about what kind of economic instincts the Israelites had brought with them out of Egypt. Egypt was a civilization built on accumulation. The entire Joseph story turns on grain storage, on hoarding during years of plenty to secure years of famine. Egypt had granaries, storehouses, entire systems designed to convert surplus into control over the future. That is what the Israelites had known for generations. And suddenly, God introduces an economy where accumulation is impossible. No matter how much anyone gathered, when it was measured, everyone got exactly what they need. No surplus, no security beyond today. Human beings have a deeply emotional relationship with food. We need to know that we will have enough to eat in order to feel safe and to feel that the future is manageable. Psychologists describe our tendency to turn planning and saving into a sense of certainty as an illusion of control. But the manna exposed that illusion because it was a food economy that had no connection to human agency. In this economy, your labor didn't translate into security, and you couldn't earn your way out of vulnerability. So the manna was a gift, it was a miracle, but it was also destabilizing because it left no room for control. And this is what made the manna a challenge. Each morning brought manna again. Each night ended with nothing left over. And what links the two is trust, learning to live without stockpiling for tomorrow and the daily decision to rely rather than to control. For 40 years, the people's trust muscle was trained and exercised by the manna. But when they entered the land of Israel, the manna stopped. The promised land was not a place where bread fell from heaven. In fact, the first laws the people receive upon entering it are agricultural laws because the Torah fully expects them to work the land, to sow, plant, and harvest. But now they could do that with a memory of the manna still alive, the knowledge that their sustenance is ultimately not in their control. For the Israelites in the desert, the manna made one thing unmistakably evident. Food came only because God gave it. That was the lesson they were meant to carry into the land where they would be required to work, knowing that even their success would still depend on rain they do not control, growth they do not command, and blessing they do not manufacture. We live in a world where security is measured in savings and the future is something we're taught to manage, ensure, and lock down. The Torah doesn't reject that world, and it doesn't ask us to live on manna forever. But it does insist that beneath all our necessary creative work and planning, there is a deeper reliability at work. This is why the Mechilta teaches that the Torah was given only to those who ate manna, lo nitnat Torah ela lo'ochlei haman, meaning only to a people who internalized the limits of self-reliance. The manna made it possible for the people to cultivate a faith that was not abstract but practiced daily, expressed in dependence on God that was deliberate, conscious, and fully alive. The psalmist says in Tehillim, Yigia kapecha ki tochel, you shall eat the toil of your hands, and Hasidic teaching interprets it to mean, do the physical work, but don't let your mind be consumed by it. Engage fully in the labor of life while locating your sense of security in a higher source. That tension between effort and uncertainty lives in so many corners of our lives. Couples on a fertility journey know it intimately. They follow every protocol, track every cycle, hold on to hope with everything they have. They do all the work, all the trying, all the waiting, and still they cannot command the outcome. Parshat Haman, the story of the manna in this week's Parsha, presented the Israelites with a steep learning curve, and it still challenges us today to remember, even as we work, that we do not carry the future alone. But the beautiful thing here is that once this sensibility is integrated into life, it brings relief. It allows us to work without panic, to plan without fear, free from the anxiety that everything rests on us. That's one takeaway from Parshat Beshalach. If this was meaningful to you, please subscribe, share, and comment. Shabbat Shalom.